whose team are you actually on? A lot of us work in cross-functional organizations where you have a line manager who's managing multiple people with the same job function as you. And simultaneously, you're also inside of a team that's cross-functional, made with different people chasing some interesting, piece of value delivery. Now, a lot of people look at the org chart, right? So you have an org chart, you have your chief officers, different leads, and then different dev teams, right? So you can have, for instance, super common product manager over here and then developer somewhere over here. That's a very typical situation. Sometimes there's a CPTO or a VP that goes into one of these roles, but generally speaking, you get this split in the org chart and you have two different reporting lines. One of the anti-patterns that I see time and time again is this team over here thinks they're a different team from this team over here. And the challenge here is when you have that inside of your culture, when you have a team over here and a team over here, you actually end up with weird handovers, right? You have a handover like this from one team to the other. Or, when you need to improve something in this company, you end up saying, okay, this developer needs to improve something that's outside of development, could be about how product management is done. This developer lead needs to funnel that up to the CTO. And then these people here end up cross-functionally discussing this at some leadership meeting that happens with a very large amount of topics. And they might have a chance to funnel that topic back down here and then back down here. One of the challenges is, of course, we are preventing this person from going to speak to this person and adapt their working styles correctly. So a lot of people get confused about this because in, the teams that we're on, we have a team, right? And they deliver the flow of change, right? So if you go from the idea all the way to value, right? So we had an idea, we did the discovery work, we looked at, how do we build that? We looked at the architecture, we, did the deployment of that software, we're running it in production, we found out what the customers are doing, and we learned something, and then we come back to the beginning and we do that all over again. The flow of change should be flowing through a team cross-functionally if we want things to be fast. But more often than not, we have this thing. And the challenge here is this is only a diagram, right? Both of these are just diagrams. The thing that you cannot see is the way people behave inside of these teams, right? So it's the culture, the beliefs, and the incentives they have, the reporting structures, how their managers are encouraging them to work together, right? So if this manager says, you can't go talk to this person about this change, just put your head down, do the task. Or if this one says, no, that's not your responsibility, I will give you the work, you will have a handover. You might have this diagram that you have a stream-aligned team, but in actuality, you have two teams, right? You have two different teams. They're not stream-aligned necessarily. And one is doing a handover to the other. And that is very typical, right? So one thing to think about here is your team that does the flow of change, of value delivery for the company. That is your team where you deliver value inside of your company, right? So coming up with the ideas, ways to improve the team, ways to improve the working styles, this comes in here. And outside of that, you get value delivery and the company gets more money, right? So that's the flow of change through your organization. So your team, the cross-functional team, that flows change through an organization. Now, up here, this hierarchy still has a purpose, but that should be developing the development of your skills, right? So how do you progress? And that's the reason that people report into, typically, people like to report into, somebody who's one level senior in their discipline, in their job family. They don't like it when, a developer has to report to a product manager. When product managers tend to not like it when they have to report to a dev lead. And the things they usually say are, it's hard for me to develop my career this way. I want to report to somebody who's deepen their skills and I can respect. And that, I think, is exactly what this is for, right? This should be supporting the skills of these people, right? So how does a developer deepen their skills and reach dev lead or some other track and go up the hierarchy? Same thing on the PM track, right? How do they go up? How do they learn more things? And having a mentor there who can understand their work and help them understand the types of work, they belong here in this tree. Now, that is supporting your skills. This is flow of skills, right? This is flow of skills. Flow of change is your cross-functional team. And we get dysfunction when we start to flow change through the reporting hierarchy, right? We try to change the organization through our development family, right? Through our skills development tree, not through our value delivery, process. And so when that happens, you get these superficial handovers. So the solution here is we have to form a cross-functional team, right? So the dev lead and the dev have to be in the same team as the PM, right? And it's fine if they don't report into the same, CTO or CPO. They need to form a leadership concept that works well here on the stream aligned team, right? They need to unite themselves and see themselves as peers in terms of we are all responsible for the flow of change, flow to value from the opportunity space. Now, it doesn't mean we cut out the hierarchy from all of these things, right? CPO and CTO still need to set, different initiatives and align on things, but that is still flow of value through the company, right? And what they do is form a leadership team that will actually facilitate the understanding of a stream aligned team, right? If you remember from previous videos, I said that leadership team is to keep alignment on people, process, product, and tech. And that's what they should be doing here. But they should be doing it not my CPO tells my PM what products we need to build. It's this leadership team, right? That's a leadership team. They're cross-functional, needs to facilitate that alignment with this team, right? They are facilitating the flow of change with a team that's designed to flow change. We get a lot of dysfunction and we have a lot of people who don't understand what they're working on and why. When we have CEO aligns with product officer on what to build, product officer tells a PM what to do, and then somehow a PM tries to, do a handover through a Jira ticket to a developer, and then that developer tries to figure out what to do, and the dev lead tries to reverse engineer what they tried to think about and come up with an architecture without understanding the requirements. We get a lot of dysfunction in that system, right? So don't think of this as a competing hierarchy. Think of this as the purpose of this is your skills. There's still a team inside of that, right? The teams are completely different from your reporting lines. There's still a cross-functional team here, even though they all have the same reporting line up to the CEO. That might be a different structure, right? There might be, some VPs that don't report into a CEO in a larger organization. But the point is they are a leadership team that facilitates that people, process, product, and technology alignment for that stream aligned team. So they can pick those goals, pick those objectives, and really make sure that the company stays cohesive in what they're trying to build. So this is the important thing, right? The team is the minimal unit of how you should be working, right? So if you're not thinking in teams, if you're thinking in individuals, you will struggle to flow change. So it's just something important to think about, right? When you think about, whose team are you on? It depends on what we're talking about. Are we talking about developing your personal skills, getting mentorship, getting support, or are we talking about flow of change through the organization, right? So just some things for you to consider.